now we moved to Sierra Leone, to Mali. Professor Pitoni, a real great Italian geologist, he passed away unfortunately a few years ago. He provided me this photo and some artifacts from Sierra Leone, which I show you following. He follows always legends and mythology. And when he was working in a diamond mine in Sierra Leone, he got information about a legend that a princess did something wrong and God made her into stone, and there is a huge half granite, half portrait lady in a rock formation. So he went there and he visited the place, and you can see here exactly the face, the breast, until here. This is definitely because he was a really great geologist, and he said, I could not go directly to there, but I could see definitely that this was man-made, a precise face, everything. But the size from here to here, the man-made formation is 140 meters. So it would be even quite very difficult for us in our days with high technology to do such a precise half-portrait into a rock. Here this is a close-up of the face, and you can see exactly the face, but what some specialists told me, and I can see it by myself, this looks more like South American or Asian, but not Black African style. So that's another hint for me to the direction of Atlantis. Then, while he was excavating diamonds at the diamond mines, as a geologist, he always took from the finding position of any artifact organic material. So he found many sky blue stones. That's why he called these stones sky stones. We did analytical check at the Natural Historical Museum, at the Mineralogical Department. These stones are artificial made. We could find out all the materials except the color. The color is no way to find out what color they used to get really sky blue stones, from big size till small size. And the legend in this area says that they are Muslims. Allah was angry with some of the angels, and he petrified them and threw them to the earth. These are the so-called nomolis, which I show you. He took the sky and threw it to the earth. These are the so-called sky stones. And he took the stars and threw them to earth. These are the diamonds which were found there. So the sky stones, we did analysis. There are 13% of material which usually does not exist on our earth. They only find it on meteorite impacts. This is one of the nomolis. They were found in different layers, from age dating from organic material, 2000 years the youngest one, up to the oldest one, 17,000 years. Very well done, but again you know that I'm researching worldwide also giants, and we found already broken bones from a 7.6 meter human giants in Ecuador. Again, when I heard Hannah today, I got very big ears because I'm from Austria, but I didn't know that giants exist in Czechoslovakia. So very interesting. But you see here, you see the elephant and the man sitting on the elephant. If you compare the size, this guy must have been at least 6-7 meters. And you know that any country, any tribe, everywhere you find the legends and stories about giants and little people. Here also some very strange ones. These are made out of very heavy granite, found in a deepness organic material, but that doesn't prove definitely that they might not be older or younger, about approximately 5,000 years, with a strange head and human body, like the reptiles. Here again, and here again. They are approximately 50 centimeters in size and very heavy, but wonderful stoneworks. And this one he found in an area with organic material, in the deepest area. Organic material age dating was 17,000 years. It's made out of sandstone. It looks for me like a T-Rex, like a dinosaurs, and it was making a sound. He told me when he found it, it made a sound, but it was closed precisely with this stone, and he opened it and he found inside a small metal ball. So I brought the metal ball and the stone, the little stone, for analysis to the institution, to the laboratory. Next day, the professor called me and she said, "Mr. Dona, somebody made a bad joke with you." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because the metal ball is chromatic steel. And you know, chromatic steel was found first in Austria 1904. So how can come a perfect, precise chromatic steel ball inside a statue?" So next morning, I called Professor Pittoni and I said, "Professor Pittoni, we have a problem." He said, "What?" I said, "I did an analysis on the stone ball of your figurine." He said, "Oh, what is it?" I said, "You won't believe. It's chromatic steel, and chromatic steel was first time made 1904 in Austria." He was laughing and he said, "Klaus, I'm a geologist. I would not open a statue because of a strange sound if I wouldn't have done a special check before. And you see here the X-rays he did before opening, because he didn't know that there was already an opening here, because it was precise, perfect, closed. So he sent me the X-rays from all sides, and you can see that the metal ball was already inside the statue. This is the side X-ray. You see here the steel ball, and here on this picture he saw that there was an opening here already, and he asked a restaurator to open him exactly here. So that means here we have a chromatic steel ball, approximately 17,000 years or even older, and that's again interesting today what Timothy said, that they found very old stone with a kind of metal inside. So again here we have a connection, and so it goes with artifact and artifact. I always say I try to find, I'm digging for answers, but I always find new questions. So that's why it's interesting always to talk with people like you, because someone has this idea, someone has this idea, and I think if we put all together, but also together with the official scientists, because we need them. Now, this is very interesting. In the 1870, a French researcher found deep underground the first of the so-called Chacmol gods. You see here an original photo of the finding, and the official archaeologists in Mexico and the international archaeologists are saying that here, in this area, they were putting the hearts, when they were taking them out from the body, they took the heart up there, and that is the function of the god Chacmol. But now, I show you many pieces from one collection. About 3 years ago, I got an email from Mexico, from a lady, and she wrote, she's sending me some pictures, but I should keep them top secret. For me, several photos from someone I don't know, meaning top secret, somebody wants to send me a virus. And I checked each photo several times with a virus scanner, and then I opened them. And when I saw the first 10 photos, I thought somebody is cheating me, because I always refused to talk about UFOs and extraterrestrials, because I always said, as long as I do not have a real approval, I will not talk about this. Then I stick on unknown ancient high civilizations, which definitely existed. But Valery already told me so many things, and I know that he is one of the most serious researchers. So these artifacts, so it makes me already coming to the side where I think that they might have been here. Also, my friend Michael, they all talk about Anunnakis and everything. I was always a little bit behind. I said, as long as I don't have the final agreement, I won't talk. Now they make me believing it, okay. And the artifacts. But the artifacts were so good that when I showed with Nassim Haramein, together we showed 2 years ago in a conference in Saarbrücken the first pictures, and Nassim made the physical explanations. I asked, please stop all cameras, don't make photos, because I know we get trouble. So someone filmed it, and he was putting it on the internet, and you cannot imagine what happened. Even the greatest German UFO freaks and alien freaks were writing, these are liars, they think we are stupid, they show us new-made artifacts, and they try to believe us that these are original. Later I explain you more. So, here, this lady, after I got the first 10 photos, I was also unsure. I thought that's impossible. Then I asked her, can you give me more photos? Because she told me that a farmer found in one tunnel on his ground over 3,000 artifacts, 2,500 stone artifacts, from small one to big one, and 500 molded artifacts, from small one up to 50 centimeter statues, molded. So I asked her to send me some of the small molded ones. We did material check. It looks like they are really old and original. And from 2 stone masks, which you see, I show you some of them, stone masks with mosaics on it, and they used for gluing organic material. And Nassim Haramein sent 2 samples to the university in Tucson. The result was one mask, age dating 8,600 years plus minus 100, and the second one was 12,400 years plus minus 100 years. So if the analysis is correct, we have already a real confirmation that the pieces are old, but still nothing decided that we try to do in the next few months. 2 other institutions, we want to be sure that we get the same result, and then we can say that these artifacts are at least older than 8,000 years. So you can see here one of these so-called Chuck Moll gods holding something on his breast. Here this one, it looks like, I would say like a computer showing a face on his stomach. And a Russian scientist found out that the best condition traveling in the space would be in this style of sitting. Here another one, here you see exactly, he has something on his stomach, but not hard, but something like really looks like a small television or whatever. Here another one, and look at the clothes and the seat. This is made out of stone. This is also stone in carving. This one also. $3,000 pieces. Here looks like a UFO, unknown symbols, human footsteps. Michael, maybe they saw the giant footstep in South Africa. All of these pieces are molded, and for me it looks like flying objects. Here you have close up. Here you can see even person with big eyes looking out of the windows. Here you have a sun eruption and a triangle in the sun. I got this photo 3 years ago, and some of you might have seen a NASA photo on the internet with the sun with a long dark triangle in the sun. This one again, on top a UFO. Here a guy with very strange big eyes. Here again, looks like a UFO. Here, one of several engravings where the person seen always is raising the left hand. And I always say I'm happy that they raise the left hand, because if they would raise the right hand, I would have a problem in Austria. Here you have the sun eruptions. Here something, for me it looked like a wormhole, but Paul told me it's not a wormhole. This is very interesting because it looks like something is going direction to the earth, because here it looks like the earth, and here you have a flying object in front, and one following it, here another one, and here again you have the famous position with the rising hand. This is a close-up of the one I told you before. Exactly on internet, we could see a photo. Now the battery is gone. Try this. The sun with the sun eruption, and here the triangle. And Valerie told us in his conference that the sun might have been a kind of stargate, and it looks like here the UFO, sun eruption, and exactly this triangle was on a real sun photo from NASA about 1.5 years ago. So what does it mean? No idea. There's another strange one, again with the sun eruption and a flying object. And here the guys are looking out of the windows. This a star constellation. Maybe one day someone can give me an explanation what might be seen here on this star map. You can see all the kind, different size, different material, most of them made out of stone. 3,000 pieces. The farmer is afraid, that's why everything started with top secret. The farmer is afraid when the government gets a knowledge about this collection, they will take it away, and they might take his land also away, because there are 2 tunnels which he didn't open yet. And maybe in December I can fly with Andre to Mexico, and we are allowed to document all the 3,000 pieces, and if we have time enough, maybe we are allowed to open with him together the 2nd and the 3rd tunnel. Then we would have the final approval. But for me, approval enough, because some of the pieces have gold inlays and precious stone inlays. And a farmer, I don't think he would be able to make 3,000 masterpieces. It would not be possible. This is one similar mask where we did with 2 of them an age dating, because these are semi-precious stones glued with the organic material on a stone mask. And this is, for example, the reverse side of the one you saw, the front side. And you know from Star Wars films, transportation from one dimension or star to another star, people would be sleeping inside. This one, it's about 50 centimeters high, stone with inlays, and many of the inlays have the body, the hands positioned like Egyptian mummies. This looks like one of the famous Nazca lines, a spider. This is another mask, front side and reverse side. This is another front side and the reverse side. Again, the left hand. And here, like a comet, coming down, flying object. This one, a sitting, a kneeling guy with a kind of baby on his hands. Here. Another mask, and the reverse side. This is for me also very interesting, because it shows here the flying object. This guy showing, it looks like he wants to protect something in his hand of this comet or whatever is going into direction to here. Maybe, I made a joke, I said, maybe they show us on these artifacts that when really a problem is coming and a big impact is trying to catch the earth, that they are ready to help us. But interesting is that many of these figurines, they are dressed like the Mayans. This is very interesting. This is a precious stone showing the 3rd eye, but again, very big eyes. On this one, elongated skull, with a baby also with elongated skull. This one is very, very interesting, because again you see here even the mask sitting in the position of Chuck Moll in something inside, and again raising the left hand. Here another one. Then one thing which looks like a sarcophagus. You see? I mean, you have to agree, they look too good to be believed.
Yes.
That's another sarcophagus. Here you have step pyramids, and again, the Mayans, they had two tribes, the Eagle tribe and the Puma tribe. And on this one here, you see, it looks like the Eagle tribe. So now the real question is, are these species all, these artifacts all, at least 8,000 years old? But then the history about the Mayans, and especially interesting, the history, the age of the building of the Mexican pyramids must be also older. So question, no answer yet. Here you see several of the artifacts, gold inlay eyes, precious stone inlay with gold. So a farmer in Mexico wouldn't be able to, or if he would be an incorrect man, he would break up the precious stones and gold and would sell it, but he doesn't do it. This one again, strange person with elongated skull and big eyes. Another one. This, I love him most of all, because here you can see even the glass here of the helmet. Long, big eyes, holding something in his hand. And here a flying object. Now we change and we go to Colombia. In Colombia, Professor Jaime Gutierrez has the most incredible collection in Colombia. This, we called it the genetical disc. It is made out of a material which is called lydite, or in English also radioite. It's a very hard stone, but usually the structure is like leaves formed. So that means it's very easy to break. You can see here on this arrow that a little piece was broken away, and even on other parts, pieces were broken away. So, why this is so interesting? It is not accepted, this disc and the other artifacts I show you are not accepted as archaeological findings, because they do not fit any known pre-Columbian culture, so they must be new. But the problem is, 2001, before we put those artifacts to the exhibition, we made material check at the Natural Historical Museum Mineralogical Department, and Dr. Rudolf Distelberger was with us. And after getting the result of this material, he told me, I'm happy that I'm here today, otherwise I wouldn't believe in the result of the material. I said, why? He checked all these pieces, and after checking he said, I cannot tell you who made those artifacts, I cannot tell you how they made the artifact, and I cannot tell you when they made the artifact, but the only thing I can tell you, we are not able to do the same artifacts with our high technology, with the same material today. So that means we talk here again about very strange things. Why? First of all, they were found in South America, in Colombia. They do not connect any known pre-Columbian culture. That means they should be at least older than 6,000 years. But then the next question arises, how could they know how human egg with spermia and without spermia looks like? And especially this one, I think it was used for medical purpose, because you can put in the round form, you can put this finger, and then you hold it with the two other fingers, and it's like your own fingers. You can reach any point precisely. And such a form, making today out of lyddite would be quite impossible. It would break immediately. All these instruments for me looks like medical instruments. And each one, as I said, is perfect done. When Professor Gutierrez showed some of these artifacts in a university in the United States, a young student told him, "Professor, isn't it reality that you are the most famous industrial designer in Colombia?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Couldn't it be that you made this design?" He said, young man, if I would have this know-how, I wouldn't be just the most famous industrial designer in Colombia. I would be the most famous worldwide. Here, each artifact is precisely done. This is very interesting because you can see here the baby coming out from the mother and I always forget the name. What's this line?
Umbilical cord. Umbilical cord?
Yes. Is around the neck of the baby. That means, for me it looks like this artifact was done by a high civilization for a lower civilization to show them already for what they should use this instrument, to cut this line when there is a danger that the baby gets strangled. The next one, we call it the birth spoon. And in Vienna, when we had the exhibition, we asked several specialist doctors if they could hold this thing and if they think it might be helpful when the baby has problems to leave the mother's body. And they tried it, and finally they said, you can here only put the dome inside. That means you can hold this instrument only with the two fingers. That means you are not able to use power. You can only use it very, very softly, and that means some of the doctors said, for us it looks even more safe than the instruments we are using in our days. And again here you see the baby is coming out from the vagina. This is the mother's body, so it means showing a lower civilization for what they should use this instrument. And again, these two pieces precisely done. Then we stay still in Colombia, but we move to Via de Leyva. There is a very old monastery, Santo Ecce Homo Monastery, built 1620 in an area where you find millions of fossils, even dinosaurs, eggs, and so on. This is Professor Jaime Gutierrez. They used many of the fossils for building the monastery. And you can see here a pineapple, petrified, cultivated fruits and vegetables they found there. Here you see an avocado. Here is a close-up. Here is maize, petrified. What does it mean? How old are these vegetables and fruits? Millions of years? If they were found together with all these fossils, I think they must be many millions of years old. This is Padre Huertas. Padre Huertas is professor for archaeological plants, ancient plants, for modern plants, and anthropologist. And he checked all these artifacts by himself, and he said these are 100% petrified, cultivated fruits and vegetables. In his hands, he is holding a cocoa bean and a banana. Here is a close-up of the cocoa bean and the banana. Another fruit, several fruits found there. And also they found petrified human bones, which are bigger than our bones. This human must have been the size of at least 3.5 to 4 meters. And also in the same region, in the same area, they found this stone with a petrified human hand and a petrified human foot. Age dating, archaeological age dating of the stone material in Colombia is 120 to 140 million years. So what do we have now? We have human hand and human foot petrified in stone. We have cultivated fruits and vegetables petrified. And age dating goes far behind our time. Here you see the hand. In the same area, they found petrified bones with very strange animals. Some of the animals, they have arm rings, you can see here. And it's an unknown animal. Nobody knows what kind of animal this was, especially this one, which is exactly looking like the other ones I showed you before, but this is the skull, and you can see that it has exactly the form like the little petrified animals. But the strange thing is that these artifacts have wonderful engravings in petrified bones, and the petrification was done already when the engravings were done. That means an unknown animal petrified with engravings. Many questions of the official age of humanity. Here is a close-up of this skull. And here is a view from front, but it shows exactly, it looks exactly like the little animals on the other petrified bones. This is a flat with a tail, and it looks exactly like the stones found in Ica, the stone collection from Dr. Cabrera, stones which are showing dinosaurs and human together, and so on. In the same area, there is a so-called Infernito, 1,500 years old, connected with the Muisca culture. It is definitely an archaeoastronomical site. These were all phalluses, but the Spanish conquistadors, they broke most of them, and I personally think that this area is much older than 1,500 years. There is also one underground room covered with huge stone blocks, and some of the big phalluses. Some of them are up to 8 meters, very heavy, and the mountain from where these rocks are transported and made is 60 kilometers up and down away from the area where these phalluses are now. So also here we have the question, how did they make them and how did they transport them? And here is my friend, and all of you can have a look on him, and maybe some of you can give me some information, so I would be happy.